Welcome to Beyond the Games, your daily insight into Guernsey 2023. Proudly sponsored by SG Kleinwort Hambros Bank Limited, Guernsey branch and Jersey branch.
Guernsey will field its largest ever athletics team for the Island Games, but as manager Tom Druce tells Express, everyone is there on merit. Welcome to Bailiwick Express, Tom. Nice to see you.
Yeah, lovely to be here.
Right, so obviously here to talk Island Games. So, how's preparations been going as far as athletics is concerned?
It's been a long run up, to be fair, because I think we made quite good progress for the original day for the 2021. So there's a lot of things in place, which was really good. Some new equipment, timing equipment. New throwing implements and various different things that obviously goes into the background, which hopefully people won't actually know is there because it'll just work and it'll just seem seamless. But all very important stuff. And now we've got the volunteers in place, got the officials in place, and I think we're almost pretty much ready. So
we're gonna have a big screen down at the track as well.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, so obviously that's not something which we purchased. That's being lent, I guess, for the week itself. But yeah, we're obviously really excited about that. I don't know how widely known that is, amongst the athletes, and how exactly it's going to work. But it's going to make it feel like I was speaking to Colin LeConte the other day, and he said, "Yeah, you're getting the Rolls Royce treatment at your sport." Having a live, massive 6 meter live screen there is it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, to make it feel a pretty professional event.
And pretty amazing that it can get that sort of exposure around all the islands with the live streaming as well.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really good. I think it's just ourselves and swimming and the football finals. I believe you've got the actual kind of roaming cameras and proper kind of almost TV-esque coverage. So it's really, really good for our sport. Obviously, it's one of the, I guess, the kind of fundamental primary sport in a multi-sport event normally is the athletics. So yeah, we're really looking to take advantage of that, I guess, and it'll be lovely to hear everyone's kind of feedback, I suppose, from the visiting islands, and hopefully their families can feel more, a little bit closer to it.
And the games has been pretty much driving standards as well. We see this in a lot of the sports that people are really honing in now as competition time. There's been the competition for places, and now we're sort of coming to those final stages.
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely. We chose our team only a week ago, so we've managed to take advantage of that kind of window to really push performances, and it's been really, really good. We've seen the impetus build, I think, and now we're on the final straight. It's about people now, they know they're on the team. They want to do themselves justice, of course, and if they've got goals to win medals or to break games records maybe and things like that, now's the time to get the final prep just about right. So it's been a really, really good vehicle for me, and my job as development officer obviously is my main job, although the Island Games is a big thing in terms of being a team manager for that. But yeah, it's a vehicle, as I say, which boost the sport in a number of different ways, and the athletes' performances is just one of those, and it's important to make sure we get it right and capitalise as much as possible, of course.
And biggest Guernsey team that we've seen as well. Yeah,
in athletics, yeah, absolutely. So I think obviously we must be the biggest team as the part of Team Guernsey as well on this occasion with 44, but it's the largest contingent of for athletics as well. So yeah, it says a lot for the individuals, that they've elevated themselves to that level, and they're in on merit. And it was really, really important for me to make it clear from the outset to the athletes, you're not getting in as a favour just because we're at home, because that's not going to then get that response of driving the performances up that we spoke about just before. So it was always really important to outline it clearly that the standards are in place. Come to these standards, these criteria through quite robust processes, and these are what you need to get in, and if you don't hit them you won't be in. And that's unfortunately what's happened for there's been a couple who didn't quite make it, and obviously they've done everything they could, and sometimes things just don't marry up, do they? But it does mean that you can look at the 44 that are there and know that everyone's in on merit, and they're hopefully going to go ahead and represent really, really well.
And a really good span of ages and experience as well. So I guess we go from the internationals like Alistair Chalmers all the way down to people making their games debut, teenagers. And
we've actually I think we've got about 20 debutants out of the 44 roughly, so almost half are debutants, and different ages though. We've got the likes of Holly Drake in the triple jump, who's an English person who's moved over to the island for work. She teaches at Beaucamp, and so she's in her mid-20s, and obviously she's a debutant, but not maybe in the same way that some of the 17-year-olds are debuting, so it's a little bit different, I guess. But really good range of people, like you say, from people who are full-time athletes like Alistair and Cameron, etc., right down to people who are still in school, other people balancing work commitments with their sport, and I think that variation is really good for the team, because they're all different characters, all different situations, all coming together, and can benefit from each other's experience and each other's different personalities, I think.
And I guess for the debutants, having those experienced characters around is going to help, because it's not an environment that they've been involved in before, a week-long event as well.
Exactly, and it's it can be quite intense. It's going to be a little bit different being at home from being at away games, but I think it's the same for all teams. Obviously, we're looking at ourselves, because that's what the Guernsey public are most interested in, is what we're most interested in. But I think it's the same across all the islands, that people come together, and maybe not normally the sort of people that they would kind of interact with and sort of spend a whole week in close proximity with. But generally it can be quite an intense week, but it's always a really positive week. Everyone's got great memories of island games, like that, going back to, for myself, my first one was in 2003, and I lost count of how many I've done as either an athlete or a manager, but they're all in there somewhere, kind of like the nice memories and the wins, the losses, and the stuff that's gone on afterwards. And it's always a really good experience for everyone.
I know it's always difficult to pick out or anticipate what the highlights are going to be, but can you pick out some sort of key events that you'd really want people to get down there and watch?
I think obviously Alistair's our headline act. Really charismatic young man as well, of course, and I think that helps in sport. If you really want to sell a sport, or a sports team, or or a sports person specifically, I think you need a little bit of personality these days to really kind of get out there and be taken notice of, and he's certainly got that. A lot of confidence, not in a brash, like arrogant way though. I think you had him on your podcast, of course, and he speaks really well and sells himself in the sport really well. So really would implore people to come and sort of witness what world class 400 meter hurdling looks like in the flesh, because that's what he is. Went to the World Championships last year for Great Britain, so. And not to mention, obviously, won a bronze medal for us at the Commonwealth Games, which is amazing to witness. So, to have someone like that who's also one of your own competing in your own backyard it's a great opportunity. So that's happening on the Tuesday evening at Foots Lane. So that's going to be probably the highlight, I think. And other than that, we've got there's so many, but I suppose our female, not equivalent, because she's certainly not quite at that level yet, but our female star, if you like, Abby Galpin's obviously doing the 100 and the 200, her main events. We also have Joe Chadwick on the men's side, who is the fastest man we've ever had in the 100. So on the Monday night, that double 100 meter to close it out, I think, obviously we're hoping for double gold, which in the blue ribbon event, at any kind of Olympics, Commonwealths or Island Games, if we as a home nation can take double gold, that's going to be a pretty big night as well. So that's two straight away. But I mean, you could say obviously relays are great as well. I've told other outlets that, and I'm very confident, but I don't think overconfident. I think we should win all four relays. So you've got 4x100 and 4x400 in both genders. So that's four relay races, which are going to be extremely exciting. But I think we should go and clean up in those on the final day on that Friday. So that's going to be a great way to finish if we do manage to do that.
You had much of an eye on the teams coming over.
And I happen to know there's some really impressive throwers coming. So that's another. We're speaking about Guernsey highlights, I guess, but actually I'm looking forward to seeing some of the men's hammer in particular. Looks really, really high quality. We're talking international class again, and seeing those implements, whether it's hammer, discus, or javelin, seeing them flying through the air like for a good few seconds they stay up for when they go far, and seeing them fly across the pitch. It's a really impressive sight actually, and so I'm looking forward to watching some of those guys as well. So yeah, it's like I say, it's a little bit guesswork at the moment, and trying to do some research on the side, but it will be revealed pretty soon, I'm sure, and then we'll be scouring the start lists and the entry list to see who we're up against.
What is it about track and field that makes you so passionate about it?
I think obviously it's a lot of sports within a sport, isn't it? So I like to think there's something for everyone. For me, like obviously I coach on the track side, so that kind of all or nothing kind of moment, like that instant like gratification of whether the person's won or lost. You don't get any second chances. I think that's and you get the build up as well, don't you? So that it's whilst if you look at a team game, for example, it's maybe 90 minutes or 80 minutes of a game, and you can make mistakes, but you can redeem yourself. I think in the short distances, kind of 100 up to sort of 800, 1500, if you make a mistake, that's it, you're done. It's quite like that kind of that peril of it. And then, but equally in the field events, they get 6 attempts to go out there and get it done. So, but then they might make mistakes on round 2, and can they rectify it on round 3? And if they can't, they need to try a different strategy to rectify it on round 6 or round 5, sorry, or whatever. So, yeah, it brings a lot of different different types of appeal, I think, and I think for me, just the physicality of some of these powerful guys and girls in the sprint events, and right through to on the field as well, right up to sort of 800, 1500, people are getting really, really strong now that the strength and conditioning aspect has gone massively different from how it was sort of 15, 20 years ago. Sports science is in a completely different place, and I think the Island Games family is now in a completely different place as well, because we're all accessing this knowledge and this information that coaches and sports science can provide, because we've all got links for ourselves, obviously, with Great Britain and with, for Åland and Gotland, they've got the big Scandinavian countries around them and things like this. And people are starting to, go to university on the mainland as maybe more the norm now than it used to be. And I remember back in 2003, you look at the standards of the competition, and there was some stars, but there weren't many. Sort of at the back end of the finals, the quality wasn't great, to be honest. But now, like the depth is going to be there, and some seriously impressive, strong, fast, powerful, and also on the endurance side as well. Obviously, it's completely different kind of body types, but again, sports science there has taken us to a completely different position on that side as well. So, yeah, just some seriously impressive human beings really to sort of just witness going at it, trying to beat each other in front of you is a pretty cool sport when you sort of take a step back and look at it.
And the games itself is probably a great showcase for the sport and for developing the sport in the future.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think obviously it's captured the imagination of my squad, those who are aspiring to be in the squad already, and that's just sort of trying to get ready for it. Once we then go and see them go and perform out in the arena, hopefully plenty of youngsters I'm hoping to see down the track witnessing it, and I think when you see people sort of just execute what they're trying to do to the absolute T, and then just the rewards that they get afterwards, like the smiles, the celebrations, etc. I think it can only sort of inspire, like you say, and encourage people to get into it. And to be fair, I think Foots Lane is a very accessible venue. It's a large central venue, which I don't know what the capacity officially they put on it is, but obviously the stand, if there's no space in the stand, there's plenty of standing room around the whole arena as well. So I'm really hoping that people get behind not just our athletes. I think athletics is one of those sports where you can just get behind whoever's out there, in the middle at any given time. So hopefully it's a really appealing option for people just to just to stroll down and get there, whether it's by the bus or on the bike or whatever, because I'm sure it's going to be quite a busy car park. So I'd probably recommend trying to get there through some other means.
And on the Friday as well, we've got the Seafront Half Marathon.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's a really interesting concept. I think it must be the first time in the Island Games that it's been done this way. So the concept being for it to be quite a small course on a lapped basis, and the idea to be much more spectator friendly, because to be honest, a point-to-point half marathon is very difficult to spectate. You've got to basically be pretty fit yourself and be on a bike or manage to get in a car and get past them. It's difficult. So actually playing on the town seafront, which obviously, as we know, we kind of take it for granted here in Guernsey, but I think it's a very picturesque, unique kind of place to be, and hopefully the visitors will enjoy it as well. But I think it's going to be good for the Guernsey public to be down there and hopefully cheering on again some really high-ranking Guernsey athletes.
That's pretty much it from me. But any last words from you as well?
I guess just to reiterate again, it's going to be a bit of a unique, a very unique week, and I just encourage the Guernsey public to really buy into it and get behind it, and ultimately come and see some genuine, proper international standard athletics at Foots Lane, because it's not going to happen again for another 20 years. Going by how long it's been since the last time it was here. So that's all we can say, and it's going to be a really exciting time. Whatever sport people are into and wanting to come and witness.
Beyond the Games, proudly sponsored by SG Kleinwort Hambros Bank Limited, Guernsey branch and Jersey branch.